Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another College and Career Pathways, where every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday we provide you with information on various colleges and universities, financial aid resources, skilled trade professions, technical training schools and training programs, career readiness skills, career exploration, all designed to help you make the best career decisions possible. I'm Tony Curtin, your host, and we are with Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union this week. Actually, this month, they have been providing our financial literacy series. Colleen, thank you and welcome back. We're so glad to have you. You guys got some really good information, and I just reflect on how it would have benefited me immensely in my early, late teens, 20s, 30s, And I'm just
Absolutely.
excited to give this out. I'm excited to put it out there.
I feel the same whenever I tell anyone what I do. It's, well, I wish I knew that then, and I wish I knew, back then, or I wish I had believed
Yes,
believed someone when they said how
absolutely,
important it is.
absolutely.
So today's presentation is predatory lending, which is something unfortunately we may come across, especially in these pandemic times. People are getting more desperate. People are, don't have the stability that they used to have, so they're looking for kind of anything that might work. So today we're looking at, unfair and abusive practices and how we can avoid them, how we can stay away. So, of course, I have a nice introductory, adorable video to start, and I will see you in a moment.
Do you need $1,000 cash fast? Guaranteed approval, no credit check required.
Are you a loan shark?
A loan shark? You're funny. We don't like that term. We prefer the term money lender. Loan shark sounds so...
Accurate?
It makes us sound so predatory, as though we target innocent...
Hold on. I'm going to pause for 1 second. It looks like it's got a delay. Try this one more time.
Do you need $1,000 cash fast?
Um,
Guaranteed approval, no credit check required.
are you a loan shark?
A loan shark? You're funny. We don't like that term. We prefer the term money lender. Loan shark sounds so...
Accurate?
It makes us sound so predatory, as though we target innocent prey in desperate situations, tear them apart, and eat them alive. You are perhaps familiar with my extensive network of Payday and Title Loan franchises. Cash quickly, Money Time 9000, Say Yay Payday, eCash-O-Rama, Give Me Money Plus, Cash Fix Fast.
Isn't Money Time 9000 the one with the really dodgy commercials late at night? Or is that the one with the reality TV spokesperson?
Does it really matter? The important thing is that we have the cash to make it happen.
To make what happen?
Your, whatever emergency and or desperate situation you're in. Car breakdown, unexpected medical bills, want to go shopping but can't wait until payday? Yeah.
Okay, 1, I have an emergency fund in my budget to look after stuff like that. And 2, I'm not sure that shopping is a valid reason to take out a loan.
There are plenty of good reasons. Instant approval, fast cash, less than perfect credit, no problem. Call in the next 5 minutes and you can have $500 by tomorrow.
I appreciate your enthusiasm, but that does not sound reassuring at all.
Look, I'm not here to judge. I don't know why you need the money.
I don't need the money.
But I do know that $500 in your pocket can really help you out. Just get the loan.
But
Get the loan.
I really don't.
Just get the loan.
Okay, let's say I do need $500 before payday. Taking out a loan means paying back the money plus interest. What's your interest rate?
If you pay it back within 10 days, you'll be fine.
That's not what I asked. What's your interest rate?
Instant approval, no credit check needed.
Give me that 550% APR?
It's not that high.
I think my credit card interest rate is high, and that's 15%. This is $550. If I borrowed that $500 for just 1 month, I'd owe like $80 in interest.
Oh, and plus late fees.
At this rate, if something happened and I couldn't pay back the loan for an entire year, I would owe over $2,500 in interest refinancing every month. Borrowing $500 today would give me $3,000 of debt. Is that not crazy to you?
Well, we can help keep that from happening. For $25 a week, we can extend that original loan so you don't have to default on it.
So if I can't pay the loan back all at once, on top of the interest, I would also pay you $100 a month just to keep it from going to collections? What if I can't cover $100 a month?
Ooh, take out another loan. Yeah, fast cash in your pocket by Friday.
Are you crazy? These loans are outrageously expensive and targeted at people who are clearly in a tight spot to begin with. How is this even legal? Don't you have any rules you have to follow?
Of course there are. There's all sorts of legislation surrounding short-term lending. But my businesses happen to be registered under a slightly different sector. So I don't have to follow all those boring rules exactly.
Moneytime 9000, Payday Lender, and Island Adventure Tours.
We put the fun in fundamentally unsafe.
Right. Well, thanks for the info. I'm not going to take out a loan, so please go away.
I didn't want it to come to this. But if you don't take out that loan... Hey, there's a shark in the pool!
I'm just gonna...
Dun-na. Dun-na. Dun-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Well, I apologize. That's my favorite video, actually. You singing the Jaws theme song at the end. That's sad. I really love the predatory lending. And
You lost sound, Colleen.
hello.
Okay, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. Why is screen sharing? Pause. Can you see where it says identifying abusive and unfair practices?
No.
Oh. Okay. Why is it still paused? Okay, I apologize. Here, let me start over. Okay,
Okay.
now you can see it. Perfect.
Yes.
All right, as I said, I really like that video because especially the shark is coming up saying, you need this loan. You don't you want $500? Don't you want $500? And Jen is saying, no, I really don't. And how easy is it for someone to convince you, don't you need $500? Yeah. So it's very easy to get trapped. Predatory lending comes in many forms. When we think payday loan, or I mistakenly sometimes say, oh, this is, the payday loan workshop. But it's more than just payday loans. It's predatory lending, predatory in that there's something shady. There's something that you purposely don't know or is being used against you, in a negative way. And so in addition to payday loans, pawn shops, and prepaid debit cards, certain loan companies, we're going to look at examples of all of those. Pawn brokers, pawn shops, and Detroit is certainly known for pawn shops. We got a couple famous ones. Can be a short-term, I don't even want to say solution, I want to say maybe Band-Aid. Pawn shops are where you sell kind of an item of your own to the business and they give you some money for it. So it's either collateral until you have the money to pay it back, or maybe they're going to sell that item for you. But they're going to give you much, much, much less than it's worth. So the idea is, oh, I have this beautiful necklace. Let's just say this was a giant diamond in the middle here, and it was worth thousands of dollars. Well, times are rough, things are bad. I'm going to go to the pawn shop and pawn this necklace and see if they'll give me thousands of dollars for it, and then I can pay off my bills, and then we'll be good to go. Well, if I go to the pawn shop and I say, well, I've got this giant diamond in this necklace, it's real, it's worth this much, and they say, sure, we'll give you $250 for it. Of course, in my head, I'm like, absolutely not. That's nowhere near what it's worth. I won't even consider anything less than, $500. And they're like, nope, we'll give you $300. That's it. Now, I can either say, no, thank you. That's not a good deal. That does not work for me. Or I might say, man, I am really, really in a tough spot, and $250 is better than nothing, or $300 is better than nothing. So I'm going to get rid of, I'm going to pawn this necklace so I can get that $300 for something. When in reality, that was, fiscally terrible. It was worth a lot more, and especially items that are sentimental. It could be a necklace that's not necessarily a giant diamond, but like this one has sentimental value, and you're certainly not going to get paid. No one is going to compensate you for sentimental value. Payday lenders or payday loans, payday advance, salary loans, short-term loans. They've come up with a lot of different names to say not to say payday loan, because they've got such a bad name, right? They're small, short-term, unsecured loans. Remember, an unsecured loan has no collateral, and it's linked to a borrower's payday. So instead of getting a loan for 3 years or 5 years or 30 years, you're getting a loan for 2 weeks, and you're getting a loan for 2 weeks. So it's loans, but they're for these very small windows of time. Payday is the payment is due upon your next payday. Prepaid debit cards we talked about last week that are preloaded with money, so maybe your direct deposit, or you loaded $1,000 onto your prepaid debit card so that you can order things online and you can pay your bills online. And prepaid debit cards are not inherently predatory, but be careful. Again, read the fine print. What are the fees? Is there a fee to reload money on it? Is it a fee to pull money off of it? Is it a fee, to when you pay a bill every time? If there are, this is not an ideal way to pay your bills. If you could have the money going to a checking account, much better. Even if you can switch to a different prepaid debit card. So again, my highlight underlines in red, ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. This doesn't have any fees, right? How do I get out of this? What do I have to do to not have this happen? Even if someone explains, oh, this is perfect for you. Ask as many questions as you can think of. Loan sharks, again, like the shark in the video, individuals or groups who offer loans at extremely high interest rates. So we're looking at someone who is in dire straits financially. They don't have good credit. They have poor credit due to who knows. It could be from medical bills. It could be from foreclosures. It could be they got a divorce last year. There could be all of those things together. There's various reasons why someone may be struggling in their credit at this time, right? Again, that doesn't mean forever you're going to be struggling with your credit. But an individual who feels trapped, who feels backed into a corner, what am I going to do? Those are the audience. That is the audience who feels trapped, and the only one who's willing to help them is this loan shark. It refers to illegal activity, predatory lending, payday title loans, really too good to be true. Loan sharks enforce repayment by blackmail, threats of violence. This is not your credit union loan. This is you go to your buddy knows a guy who could get you the money, but then you're not able to pay him back right away, so he claims he's going to come break your legs or burn your house down. I mean, you don't want anything even remotely near one of these situations, right? Loan sharks, the name shark, as a predatory, it's an apex predator of the sea. It is honing in on the prey that it can devour. So a loan shark is someone offering money at an extremely high interest rate to someone who feels like they have no other option, and then just squeezing that person for everything you can and making it more and more and more difficult for them. What are some telltale signs of predatory lending? How do I know whether 15% is a good rate or 15% is a predatory rate? What are some signs to look for? Failure to present the loan price as negotiable. Certainly, loans are offered based on your credit, right? But there's things you can negotiate. The term. What if I pay over 3 years? What if I pay over 4 years? What if I pay over 5 years? What if I set the payments up to automatic bill pay? A lot of times if you set a loan up to be on automatic payment, you'll get like 0.25% off of the interest rate. Other lenders, you may say, well, I need to, that's too much. I don't need $5,000. I really only want to borrow $4,000. All of that is negotiable, right? Before you sign on the dotted line, you're asking for options. I'd like a loan from your organization potentially. What can you offer me? If they say, we have this is it, take it or leave it, you're not going to negotiate with me. Don't you want to structure it to work best for me? In some cases, you can really negotiate. How about I set it on auto pay, but I don't have this application charge. Again, ask. Don't be afraid to ask. A lender, whether it's a bank, whether it's a credit union, should be willing to work with you, flexible, right? They're not going to do whatever you want. They're not going to, appease you for everything, but they should be willing to look for a solution, try to find a solution. So someone or an organization who's just, this is our price period, end of story, take it or leave it, kind of a red flag. Also, unjustified risk-based pricing. This is the practice of charging a lot more, extending credit to consumers who are identified as posing a greater credit risk. And again, we've talked about credit scores. The lower your credit score is, the riskier you appear. So the higher interest rate you will be charged. That makes sense. That is, corresponding. The lower you are, the more risky you appear, therefore the more expensive it is. But there gets to a point where, just because you have a low credit score, there's a unjustifiably high. If I were to tell you that 15% is a decent interest rate for a loan, and I said, but I'm willing to offer you for, 99% interest, that is a huge increase. So there's a difference between someone saying, I'm sorry, your credit is not that great. You have very low credit. I can, give you some pointers on how you can try to improve it, but you know, whatever loan you get is going to be very expensive interest. So that's just how it is. And you're asking questions. You're saying, wow, well, this 100%, 99%, that seems an awful lot. Have them explain it. Show the rate. At MSGCU, you come in and you ask for a loan, and we say 15%, hypothetically. We can explain why. We should be able to say, because this is your credit score, because this is, you know, the year of the car you're trying to buy, because this is the value of the car you're trying to buy, because this is, you know, what you're willing to put down in interest, what you're willing, maybe if you want to pay a down payment, they'll give you a little bit of a deal on the interest. So we can explain all of that to you. This is exactly where that number came from. If it's just out of left field, you know, it's just, and I'll give an example. I was in New York City. This was a few years ago, and it was my boyfriend and his mother, and we wanted to go to the top of the Empire State Building. And there was a guy, you know, oh, you want to go? You want tickets? You want to get up Empire State Building? And I think he said it was $75 a person. And that included getting in, like watching a little movie, going out to, you know, all of the fun stuff you get. And then he went to charge, and it was like $500. And we're like, whoa, wait a minute. You just said 75. 75 times 3. That's a whole lot less than $500. And he just stumbled through taxes, fees. I don't know what these fees are. They just tell me they're on here. I don't know. That's just what the computer says. I mean, just literally, I don't know what this is. This is just what it says. And we walked away. You cannot, you told me $75 and you're charging me something much, much, much higher. Explain to me exactly why. What is this tax? What is this fee? Why are we paying this? And if you can't do that, that's a huge red flag, right? You know, if someone says, don't do something, but I'm not going to tell you why. So even if you feel like it's unjustified, your interest rate is way too high, can it be explained? Can they show good reasoning? You know, can they show where that number came from?
Colleen, we have a question in the chat that says, can this be applied to mortgages and car loans?
Yes. So in terms of just predatory lending, it could be any loan. I mean, we kind of think of car loans really as the first, because that is usually something that people feel like I have to get a car, even if it's a $500 car. You know, I got to get a cheap car. And who's going to give you that, you know, $2,000 loan, or, you know, that small loan for the car? And if you have that poor credit, you see those ads on the TV, you know, no credit, no problem. Poor credit, no problem. We won't even do a credit check. Well, yes, but why? Mortgages, there certainly can be predatory lending, and unfortunately that's what happened, you know, with this real estate bubble years back. But you can refinance a mortgage loan if you apply and sign a mortgage in 2022, and your credit's not that great. Let's say you're having to pay 6% interest on your mortgage, which is really, 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 really high. Okay. You worked for a couple years, you're paying some bills down, you improve your credit, right? So maybe now it's 2025. You can go refinance, you know, kind of reapply for the same mortgage you have. And if your credit score is much higher, and hopefully your house is worth just a little bit more in those couple years, you can bring that interest rate, you know, significantly down, you know, 3%. 4%, you know, something similar to that. So any situation you can refinance a loan is beneficial. But when we're looking at a $500 car loan or $250, pawn. It's usually these smaller numbers where there isn't enough, length of time. But absolutely, every loan needs to be investigated. Every loan needs to be compared, fully disclosed terms and conditions. I went over this for credit cards. Is it a variable rate? How much is the late payment? Something else for car loans. This is, I found this out. I'm shocked. We do not at MSGCU do this, but I know of other financial institutions where if you get a car loan, and you sign, you say, I promise to pay this much on a monthly basis, by the first of each month. And it's written into the contract that if you do not pay, we have the ability to turn your car off, that we've literally installed, a device, or that there's, part of the loan is that we have a kill switch. And if that loan is not paid, we hit the kill switch and that car will not start. Now, is that fair? I don't know. I mean, the person who is late on their bills would say, of course not. Of course, that's not fair. I'm going to pay as soon as I can. Let me drive my car. But the lender would say, I explained this to you. I told you that when you signed this. So you didn't pay. I'm just following my end. This helps me get the money. If I don't shut your car off, you're probably not going to give it to me. So you can see where, it really lights a fire under the people to get that loan paid so they can get the car working again. But that's something that you 100% would want to understand before you sign it, right? Before you walk away, right? I don't think I would really want to, sign up for that. Or why? Is there any other way of doing it? Let me compare with some other places. If they have an interest rate that's just so much lower than everyone else, maybe it would be worth it. But all of these terms and conditions is asked, what if this? What if this? You'd hate to find out, well, we wrote it in here that if you miss payments for 1 month, we can repossess it. I mean, you could miss payments for a month just because you got mixed up or you moved. Mortgage loans are complex, very complex. Taxes and flood insurance and home insurance and inspections. So if you're not asking questions, even if you are asking questions, it doesn't always make a lot of sense, or it can still be confusing. You want everything disclosed. You explain to me this, explain to me this. Why am I getting inspection? Who's paying for the inspection? Why am I paying for the inspection? What happens if the inspection doesn't go well? What happens if the inspection says the house is perfect? It's any reputable lender it wants to work with you. Let me explain this to you. Let me make sure we're both on the same page here. This is how I can help you. This is what I'm expecting from you. Even if it's dozens and dozens of pages, I want to understand what I'm signing.
Colleen, I have another question. How do, especially now that a lot of things are online, how do you tell if an institution is a reputable one? For example, a lot of people are now getting into Bitcoin, and their organizations promoting that they help you with Bitcoin. How do you know if they're reputable or not?
And well, I'd say almost the method you use for everything else is, where did you hear about it? Is this something you stumbled upon online, you got an email about, or is this something, your friend told you about that she's used and, is great? There's a lot, let me rephrase that. When you're in a tough position, when you're in debt, when your credit report shows you have a lot of debt, you will be targeted by these debt consolidation companies, short-term loan companies. They're seeking you out saying, hey, we can help you. We can help you. So like you said, okay, who really wants to help me and who's just trying to take advantage of me? I would say, who else have they worked with? You know, you've heard of Chase, you've heard of MSGCU. If this is Quick Cash, you know, how long have you been around? Who else have you worked with? Certainly nowadays with Reddit and Facebook or even Google, you know, has anyone worked with Quick Cash? And you'll see a whole forum of people. Stay away from them. Glassdoor is something people write their reviews of what it was like to work at that place. So you can go in and check on companies. You know, people say, oh, I was told to be dishonest. So I would say, it sounds kind of silly, but just literally kind of searching the internet. I would say get the information without signing anything. If it's a place or if it's a phone call or if it's anything that, you know, I don't want to hang up the phone until we have this deal, or, you know, I'm not gonna let you walk out of here until you sign this paper. That's I don't say not reputable, but that's a red flag. A reputable lender will let you think about it, will explain it to you and give you the benefit of the doubt. Think about it. You have this option and this option. If you're really being told this is your only option, this is what you need to do, this is the only way, you know, all of those things that kind of pigeonhole you into no options, that is a red flag. So if they want you to sign something right away, I got a phone call saying, can you please donate to the police, something with the police. And I was like, well, mail me the stuff on it and I'll send you something. And they said, well, no, we need your card number over the phone. I'm like, no, you can send me the information on what you want me to donate to, and then I'll make a donation. Well, no, we need you to pay today. Well, then I guess I'm not making a donation because that's too, no, that's not how it works. So anything that doesn't seem completely cool with what you feel, no. So short-term loans are disproportionately high fees. When you have a car loan and it's 2%, 3% interest, that's APR, you know, annual percentage rate. That means you're paying about 3% of the loan each year, you know, extra. If we're saying, you know, a 2-week loan, well, you know, what, that's 3 weeks, that 3%, you know, how many weeks is 52 weeks in a year? I believe the next, understanding annual percentage rate. So the annual percentage rate is calculated for your true cost of borrowing. Because remember, if we buy a $10,000 car, doesn't mean we're necessarily paying $10,000. We're making our payment to the loan company, and we may end up having to pay $15,000 by the end of it, or $13,000 by the end of it. You know, we are paying interest. The luxury of being able to have that time to make small payments, the privilege of that means it's gonna cost you extra. That's just the trade-off. As a form of consumer protection, banks, credit unions, lenders are required to disclose the cost of borrowing in a standardized way, compare lenders and loan options. You should be able to say, walk into Chase and say, I would like a $10,000 loan. Can you explain your options? Walk into Flagstar. I would like a $10,000 loan. Could you explain your options? Come into MSGCU, $10,000 loan, explain the options. They're not going to be exactly the same, but they should be close. I mean, none of them should really be wildly different, you know, than any of the others. The Truth in Lending Act which is very recent, only within the last, I believe, 10 years or so. And that was enacted to protect consumers. Why? On your credit card bill, where it says, if you only make the minimum payment, it's going to cost you this much. That wasn't even required. That wasn't on the bill. That's part of this Truth in Lending Act, is really making a law that things have to be told to the consumer, have to be shared with the consumer, have to be explained to the consumer. So looking at an example, cash money, we're giving you $300 for a $50 fee. All right. So today's Monday. It's a 2-week loan. So I'm giving you $300 today. And let's see, 2 Mondays from now would be like February 1st. I should have to look at a calendar. But $50 just for those 2 weeks, right? So if you actually paid it back in 2 weeks, it would only cost you $350. However, the trap with short-term loans is a lot of times you don't pay it off in 2 weeks, or you hope to pay it off in 2 weeks, or you hope to pay as much of it as you can in 2 weeks, or you run into the same problem that you have now. Well, I'm $300 short this paycheck. Well, how am I supposed to pay you $300 out of next paycheck? I'm already short on next week's paycheck. So if you end up kind of being behind each time, well, I need to extend it a little longer. I need to extend it a little longer, extend it a little longer. We're talking about 435% interest. I mean, a huge astronomical number. Now, think of it as taking out a $300 loan. You don't have the whole year to pay it back. But the way it's structured, like in the video, oh, you know what? Instead of getting a $50 late fee, why don't you do a $20 extend the loan fee? Well, then now you've extended the loan and you've got more interest, and you don't want to default on that. So instead of defaulting on that, how about a $25 extension fee? And not only are you paying this exorbitant interest, you're paying fees on top of it, and you feel trapped. And until you can get that $300 paid off, but now you've extended it, and the interest is, so many months have gone by, now you owe $1,300. And that, sounds impossible. If you were trying to find a way to come up with $300 and your supposed solution puts you deeper into debt, that's not a solution. So comparing it, the concept of a payday loan is, I need the $300 today, give me the $300 today. I'm basically signing over my paycheck to you, so that $300 for sure is going to go to you next paycheck. Okay? So they've got their money. I paid that $50 fee, but now I'm short. I had to pay them the $300, so now I'm still short on my mortgage or my car payment or something else. So I feel like I have to take another $300 loan, to cover that, and it gets worse and worse and worse. Other ways of borrowing money are expensive, but in comparison, much, much better. Instead of a payday loan, do almost anything, don't steal, but really almost anything instead of a payday loan. If you get a credit card cash advance, which I said not to do last time, that means, putting your credit card in an ATM, instead of spending, purchasing $500, you're saying, I want that $500 in cash. That's a very high interest rate to pay back. It is a cash advance cost fee just to get the money out. But again, it's cheaper than a payday loan. If you have to pay, your rent and go into the negative, if paying your rent puts you negative $300 into your checking account. I don't want you to do that. There's an overdraft fee. It's not ideal, but it's better than a payday loan, right? I'm saying even these not great solutions, I'm endorsing these not great solutions because they're still better than being trapped in a cycle of debt that you feel you will never be able to get out of, because it's designed that way. And there's been so much regulation trying to rein in these payday loan companies, or as I say, short-term loan companies. And what happened? They made all these rules and regulations for short-term loan companies. So what did they do? They changed their name to title loan companies. Well, now we're a title loan. So we're doing the same thing, but we're kind of filing it under something else. So we have, we do mortgages. We just do $300 mortgages and $500 mortgages. So there's so many ways to kind of slip under the radar. And as much as the government is trying to legalize or really protect the consumers, the other side is trying to go at it at the same time. Borrowing money from family, friends, getting another loan, saying, I know I have a loan with you, but if you don't give me this loan, I'm going to go to a payday, loan place. Places are a lot more likely to help you out if they know that's your other option or your only other option. It's not going to be easy. If you have poor credit or you have credit challenges, it's going to be more expensive. But without the knowledge, right, without the options, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, you feel like the payday loan is your only option because that's all you've heard. That's, what your friend does, that's what this other guy does, so I guess that's what I'm supposed to do. And it doesn't exist. My boyfriend's mom, the one with the Empire State Building, she actually used to run an Ace Cash Express many, many years ago. And she specifically got into it because she wanted to help. She felt, I'm going to be a payday loan place that's not like those other ones. I'm really looking to help people. And she said it was just so awful that she would, lend more and more and more, and just money wasn't coming back in. And she'd give people the benefit of the doubt, and give people rides home. And she would end up taking people to court over a $300 bill, and was just taking people to court over and over and over again. And she said, I can't do this. And she got out of it with the full intention of doing it really to help people in a rough spot. And she said she was so kind of tied just by regulations, and it was, she had to get out of the business. Avoid the debt trap. If you're behind on a traditional loan, student loan, home loan, car loan, my first suggestion is contact them. Be proactive. Even if you have to pay a late fee, even if, and I guess late fee is probably the worst, let them know. Can I skip a pay? I know that we have, and a lot of other banks and credit unions have something called skip a pay once in a while, where, I'll give you $20 and I don't have to make a car payment this month. I just have to pay $20. But instead they're going to add one more car payment on at the end. So I'm still making the same payments. I'm extending it one more month. So I'm paying slightly more interest, and now I'm paying a $20 fee. But if I'm in a situation where this month difference between, 250 and 20 could be everything. I've definitely done that before when I've, unexpectedly lost a job, called up credit card companies, called up car loans. I lost my job. Is there any way I can postpone my payments? Is there any way I can pay you a portion of it? just lenders want to work with you. They don't want to track you down. They don't want to take you to court. They don't want to have to threaten you. If you are willing to work, it's kind of the kindness. You get more flies with honey than with vinegar. If you say, look, I'm in a rough spot. I want to pay you. I want this to go through. Help me through. What can I do? Payday loans increase debt. They show up on the credit report because in the end, they end up being unpaid, right? If you paid that $300 debt, paid the $50, walked out and never went back to the payday loan place, you'd be okay. But what ends up happening is you end up extending it and extending it and extending it. And then you have this massive debt on your credit report. And if you go to a credit union or a bank and say, I need a loan to pay off my payday loan, they are very reluctant, very, very reluctant to do that because it's a very expensive loan with all the fees. And they're afraid you're just going to do it again. How are you going to pay me back when you had to go to the payday loan in the first place? So it's kind of one of those things that once you cross that threshold, it's bad. And the handout I sent Ms. Curitan a handout. Let me show you. Alternatives. There are alternatives to payday loans. Try everything first. Contact your creditors. Can I change the due date? Can I just skip a pay for 1 month? You know what? Honestly, maybe paying a $50 late fee this month is better than getting a $300 payday loan and paying it off and then now being in debt to the payday loan company. Call your creditors, explain it to them, let them know. They will try to work with you, even if it's a late payment. Better off. Perhaps an advance from your employer, depending on what employer you have. Now there's Chime. Chime is a kind of an online financial institution, a virtual financial institution that will allow you to receive the money in your paycheck 2 days early. So you don't get any extra money and you only get, what's left in your paycheck on payday. But if you need to have that bill paid by the 1st and you get paid on the 2nd or 3rd, that, those 1 or 2 days might be all the difference. So it's researching. It's, can I get, my paycheck early a little bit? Can I pick up some extra hours from someone? Can I say, can I have some money now? I'll pay you when I get my paycheck. Credit union loans. I'm a huge credit union proponent. Credit unions will generally work with you more than a bank will. We can't always fix everything, but we're people helping people. We see the whole person and the whole situation, not just you're risky right now and you're probably going to cost us money right now. Let's work with you, because if we can get you straightened out, we can get you on the right path, and you keep working with us for the next 30, 40 years, that's great. We would rather help you now and get you, out of a tough spot and get you successful so you can get a mortgage, get a car loan, get those things. So even if it's a secured credit card, if it's a small, micro loan, it's look into alternatives. What else do you have here? You have consumer credit counseling. Sometimes a company, a car loan may say, well, we will reduce your payment or we'll reduce your interest, but you have to get counseling or you have to get, credit counseling. Okay, that's great. Nothing wrong with some credit counseling. You can go to credit counseling on your own. Just nobody says you have to. There's green path. You can come into the credit union, say, I'd like to sit down with someone to talk about, my credit. National Foundation for Credit Counseling. Go right here. It's free. There's many, many free ones. You're going to be charged if you look for ones to pay for credit counseling, you'll absolutely find it. But if you really look for some free ones, you will find that as well. That can help you maybe with your reputation. If you say, I know I was late last month, but I can show you, I can prove to you that I'm taking these, credit classes. Maybe you can hold off on the repossession for a couple months until I finish this consumer credit program. Or what if I take a home buyer's class? What can you do besides money? Is there something you're willing to do to show you're trying besides money? Emergency assistance, maybe going to your church, going to like Easter seals, going to like a youth group, or each city has assistance programs. If it's something of, look, I can manage to get all my bills paid, but this hole in the roof, it's killing me. It's cold, it's wet. If I fix this hole, it's going to domino affect every other bill I have. Is there any way you can, get some high school kids together to, come over and fix the roof for some community service hours? You don't know, look into it. Maybe they say no. Again, the worst they can say is no, but look into it. I promise, if there's an embarrassing situation, if there's something you feel bad about asking, it's still going to be better than a payday loan. I promise you. And a cash advance on your credit card. Ideally, you are not maxed out on your credit card, but you can't really pay bills, with credit cards. If you have to pay, your electric bill, they want money. They want cash money. They don't want a loan. So you may have to take some money off of your credit card to give that cash to someone else. Credit card interest is high. It's going to be high, but it's under your control. You want to control the decisions you make. You want to control where your money goes. If you're signing on the dotted line for, I'm extending this 2 weeks, I'm extending this, and it gets higher and higher and higher. We looked at credit cards where if you're just making that minimum payment, and especially if you're continuing to buy items, the balance never really goes down. It just stays the same. I believe there's another question. If you file for bankruptcy and purchase a car, can you then later refinance your car loan for a lower rate? Yes. I mean, you can apply. Certainly, I can't guarantee they'll give you a lower rate, but most likely, okay, bankruptcy. Filing for bankruptcy is a last-ditch resort. It's not an end-all. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's not the end of your life. It doesn't mean you're never going to get a loan again. It means right now we need a restart. We need to kind of kickstart and start from scratch. And it's a huge blemish on your record, but it's not forever. Right? Same thing. You fail your freshman year of college, you can still get a degree. You have to keep going. So yeah, if you end up with a auto loan with a really high interest rate because of a recent bankruptcy or because of a recent repossession, let some time go by, work on your credit, and absolutely apply for a refinance. Especially, and I'm just taking a guess here, if you were in bankruptcy and got a vehicle loan, it was probably from someone, no credit, no problem, have you filed bankruptcy? No problem. And those are extremely high interest rates because they know you don't have a lot of options. So if you can take that to a bank or especially to a credit union, well, absolutely go to a lower rate. And another option, let's say it's 2022. You get a car loan with someone for 20% interest, extremely high, and you're paying for it all of 2022 and, all of 2023. And then the next year you say, okay, I'm going to try to refinance. This is way too high. You refinance for 10%, let's say. You can refinance and get another 5-year loan. So it's not that you have only the rest of the 3 years. You paid for 2 years, and now there's 3 years left of your original loan. If you refinance, you can start a new 5-year loan. So your payments, your overall payment size would be reduced. Again, you can try to pay the loan off sooner. You can try to pay it off in 3 years, 2 years, 1 year. That's ideal. But there are those flexibilities. I want to refinance. Can I extend the term? Can I just want a lower payment? Or can I wrap another loan into it? Can I throw my credit card debt onto this and refinance it all together? Or get a consolidation loan where you pay off all your credit card debt and now you're just making that one payment, to the one consolidation loan. Bankruptcy, not great, but not a death sentence. You can certainly come back. Student loans are not discharged in bankruptcy. I will say that. Unfortunately, student loans will follow you till the day you die. They can be garnished from your wages, taken out of your tax return if you're supposed to be getting a tax return. If you owe money to the government, they will get it from you. So asking for help from anyone who will help is ideal. Are there any questions? This was a little bit of a lot of stuff. Moral of the story, short-term loans, it sounds good if it's in that 2 weeks. If it takes any longer, or if it, they convince you, well, just let it stand, just let it ride, well, it's another $20. What's another $20? You're already starting down, a snowball. It's literally a snowball, like credit card debt, it becomes a snowball. So your church, your family, go to your credit union, going to a repair, if you need home repair, asking Oakland School Technical Campus. Oakland School Technical Campus has, car repair and electrical, and, I don't know what they're willing to do, but if I were in desperate need, I might say, hey, can I bring my car in and you guys work on it? Might be worth checking out, right? So even if you feel lost, come into the credit union for suggestions. Say, I feel like a payday loan is my only option. Talk me out of it. Talk me out of it. Okay, all right. Well, let's go through. Let's look at the whole picture. You could do this, or you could do this, or we could do this, because it's about the long term. Reasons people get in these situations is because they're just thinking of the short term. They're not thinking of, well, if I pay the minimum today, it's going to end up costing that much more years down the line. Oh, what's $50 today? It's going to be, hundreds of a percent down the line. So asking.
Wouldn't refinancing fall under that category? Because isn't refinancing just basically, it lowers your monthly payment, but it then extends your loan for several more years. So you don't really, it's not like a windfall of any kind, it lowers the payment if you have issues with making the payment, but it then extends the loan for several more years. So now, instead of sucking it up and just paying it off and getting it over with, now you've got several more years to pay on this thing. So would refinancing fall under this category?
Refinancing can work in a lot of ways. Yes, what you're saying, it could be, I just need a lower payment. whatever you do, I just need, even if it takes extra time, I just need a lower payment. That way I know I can make it. Okay, that's kind of a Band-Aid solution, but you're right. You're going to end up paying more interest in the end. You could, especially with mortgages, refinance. When you refinance, instead of applying for another 30-year loan, you're applying for a 10-year loan. Or you could apply for a 3-year car loan. You don't necessarily have to take the full 5 years. Or what I suggest is to take the 5 years and then just pay off as much as you can. Now you are only you only have to pay this smaller amount, but in your head, you're still making that full payment each month and getting it done, in 3 years, or getting it done in 2 years. You're lowering the requirement. So yes, you could extend it. It doesn't have to be extended. It could be. So yeah, I will say it depends what you're looking to do. If you want to get something paid off sooner, there's a way to do that. If you want to get a lower payment, there's a way to do that. For instance, with your house, if you have been paying for just a few years, but you get it appraised and it appraises for much more than you bought it for, well, now, your house is worth more, and you have, it's the debt to value. It's valued higher, so the debt you have on it is less. And if you refinance, you may get, more credit or a little better deal. So refinancing isn't always a solution, but it can help various problems. It could, well, let me say this as well. One time, years back, I went to refinance a car loan specifically to lower the payment. I was in a rough spot. I said I want to refinance, and I wasn't approved. They said no, we would not issue this loan to you today. If you came in today and applied, we would not issue this loan to you. But you already have it, so you have to keep paying it. But no, we're not going to rewrite and reissue it. So you're not always 100% eligible, for a refinance. Or they may say we can refinance, but maybe, in the end, the cost difference doesn't work so well for you. So yes, it's not that refinancing is a solution. It's what is it that you're trying to, work on. If you're trying to get one thing paid, or you want to lower debt for the car payment so that you can try to pay off the credit cards, and then you can throw the credit card payment money towards the car, it's kind of a big picture. Does that help?
Okay. So you guys, anybody else has any questions? All righty, then we will wrap this up. Thank you again, Colleen. Excellent information. I'm telling you, the two of us could go on for hours.
Yeah. You just feel, you're like, but I could help you so much.
Absolutely. All right, you guys, we'll see you next time. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Bye, guys.
Bye.